Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into Southside Bankshares' latest proxy statement, but don't worry, it's not as dry as it sounds. I mean, we are talking about bank leadership and where the money goes. What could be more exciting? Okay, maybe a lot of things, but stick with me and we will see what's happening at Southside Bankshares. First, this is a notice for their annual shareholder meeting next May. So basically this document is them asking shareholders to vote on some key decisions. It's also where management reports on operations and whatnot. Think of it as the corporate version of a high school elections meeting. The first thing up for vote is the election of directors or board members. This is important because the board basically oversees the whole company. They're nominating 4 people. It's worth knowing that 3 directors are retiring. So you know who they are nominating to fill those spots. It's important to see if the nominated member is a good fit to continue on the role. Let's move on to some info about the people in charge. The filing lists all the directors, what they do, how old they are, and how long they've been directors. This is helpful to see who's experienced and who's new. The report card gives their knowledge in particular field. This helps you figure out what these people know and what's their experience. Do they know banking, accounting, risk management? Notably, some directors are retiring and some will not stand for re-election. These changes can shift the board's focus, so it's important. Now for the warm and fuzzy stuff, which are their environmental, social, and governance initiatives. This is what they do to be responsible. This part covers everything from community impact to employee well-being. This shows that they are not just about the profit. In terms of environmental things, in 2023, they adopted an environmental policy statement. It basically outlines their commitment to environmental stewardship and operating responsibly. Also, they try to push digital banking. That means less paper and people driving to the bank. It's all for saving environment. For community, they talk about donating money to organizations across Texas, about $1 million in 2024, and the employees volunteered for over 8,000 hours in the year. For their employee initiatives, they were recognized as a best bank to work for by American Banker in 2024. They also put a lot of hours into wellness program for the people at Southside. Corporate governance is about how the company is run. It's like the rule book for the board. There is also discussion on board oversight of risk, basically a description of what they need to do to be effective in making decisions for all. It mentions that most of the directors have to be independent, meaning they aren't employees of the bank and don't have conflict of interest. This is meant to keep things fair. Next, we have the board committees. These are smaller groups within the board that focus on specific areas like auditing, compensation, and risk. This is to ensure the members work efficiently as their numbers grow. The audit committee makes sure the company's financial statements are correct. It's an important role to protect investors. Then there is corporate governance and nominating committee. They are responsible for picking the people for the board. Also, theirs is risk committee. It's their purpose to assist the board in overseeing the risk appetite of the company. Let's see how much the directors get paid. The non-employee directors get an annual retainer of $101,000. However, the table shows how much each director actually earned, with extra pay for committee chairs. It's also shown that some of them get stock. So it's good to see that the directors are invested into the company's success with their own holdings of stock. Now, who owns the company? This section shows who the big shareholders are. This is important because these people have the most influence. Lee Gibson, the CEO, owns a decent chunk, both individually and through options. BlackRock and Vanguard are the biggest shareholders with significant percentages of the company's stock. The compensation committee makes recommendations for all aspects of executive officer compensation. The board considers the recommendations of the compensation of the executive officers. Time to talk executive pay. This section explains how they decide how much to pay the top executives. It considers the company's performance, what similar companies pay, and individual executive contributions. This whole process, if to make sure the top people are getting paid according to the work that they put in a good and fair manner. The company also uses a compensation peer group for comparative purposes for compensation and performance-related benchmarks, as well as compensation structure. This ensures they're not over or underpaying executives compared to similar banks. The bank's financial results included a return on average shareholders' equity of 11.03% and a return on average assets of 1.06%. This is a good number for how the company is making profit from its shareholders' money. The CFO, Julie Schamberger, gets a company car. A little housekeeping here, as there was a change in Chief Accounting Officer position. So how does CEO pay compare to the average worker? The CEO makes 36 times what the median employee makes. This number isn't alarming. This table is key to see the compensation for the top people for the last few years. We can see what they are making on salary and see any bonuses and stock awards for the execs. Note that Leah Gibson had a change in pension value of $277,612.12. This table shows potential payouts to top executives based on performance goals. This incentivizes them to meet certain targets for the company. For the CEO, the target award for 2024 was $422,500. Here is a table of the stock options and stock awards that the executives haven't cashed in yet. Looks like all is well. This proposal is about approving a new incentive plan for employees. Basically a way to give them stock or other rewards for good work. This helps employees align their success with the success of the company. They're asking for 1.2 million shares under the new plan. This is a net increase from what was there before. This table finally compares the CEO's pay to company performance over the last several years. These include both total comp and compensation actually paid, as well as total shareholder return, net income, and ROTCE. For total shareholder return, an initial $100 investment made $105.21 in 2024. This final accounting is how they actually calculated the values. The company also wants shareholders to approve their choice of Ernst & Young as their accounting firm. This is to check all is done correctly and in the best interest. Here are the aggregate fees that they paid in 2024 versus 2023. It can be seen that audit fees were around $1.4 million. Finally, this section lists times that the insiders did not disclose trading activity when they were required to by SEC. So what's the big picture? Southside Bancshares seems to be in a pretty stable position. They are making profits, trying to be responsible, and are paying their people fairly. On the positive side, their community involvement and employee programs are pretty extensive. It's great to see them invest in the locals and their employees, which ultimately benefits themselves. A potential area for concern might be in loan growth. The bank's goal was 4% and they missed that at 3%. Overall, Southside Bancshares appears to be running a steady ship. Nothing too flashy, but solid performance and a focus on doing good in their community. If you found that breakdown helpful, give us a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more takes on SEC filings.